Most workout plans were not made for women over 40. Once you're in perimenopause or menopause, you can't do what you were doing in your 20s. So you can't follow what that fitness influencer is doing. Otherwise, you'll probably just wake up injured. If you actually want to reduce inflammation naturally and achieve that better hormonal balance so you can actually get rid of that belly fat, you can't do what you did before. You have to follow something that's more sustainable, works in the real world, and will help you achieve that balance. So in this video, I'm gonna go over the top 3 things you need to know to actually have safe and highly effective workouts that will help you get smaller and stronger at the same time. Plus, they're gonna help balance your hormones naturally. Let's dive in. Your number 1 goal with working out is not to lose weight. You have to understand this. It is to achieve better hormonal balance, because that hormonal imbalance is what's actually keeping that weight stuck on your body. It's also why you feel okay during the workout, but you can't walk the rest of the week because you're not recovering. You have so much freaking inflammation. You have to achieve better hormonal balance, specifically around the top 3. Number 1, cortisol. Number 2, insulin. And number 3 is your T3 and T4 hormones. These are also known as your metabolism. Let's start with cortisol. You actually want to spike cortisol as high as possible immediately before you work out. And the reason for this is this will help to reduce inflammation naturally. It is going to help regulate your blood sugar, but more importantly, that energy is actually going to be used for your workouts. What you don't want is your cortisol to be high the entire day. You actually want to use that cortisol for what it's used for, not just have chronically high levels, because that will keep you in fight or flight, which prevents rest and digest. And if you are not properly digesting your food, you end up with a chronic inflammatory condition known as leaky gut, where you are just gonna be gaining a ton of weight, primarily in your midsection. They actually have a term for this called cortisol belly. So if you're gaining a bunch of weight in your gut and you're walking around looking 6 months pregnant, it could be because you have too much cortisol. So if you want to regulate that, you want to make sure you are using stimulants the right way. In the real world, this looks like having caffeine immediately before your workouts, because that'll spike cortisol, and that cortisol will then be metabolized for energy, which is exactly what you want. You could talk to your dingus boss who just freaking pisses you off, and then use that anger for more energy for your workout. That actually works really effectively. You could pay to join a health and fitness program or pay to work with a personal trainer. So imagine you join my program. If you join my full program and paid to join, you would want to follow the advice and do the workouts because you already paid for it. Or the same thing works for a personal trainer. Next, you could do a group fitness class that starts at a certain time. That would force you to be time-bound. Feeling like you're gonna run out of time will actually increase stress hormones like cortisol so that you actually use it. Like, imagine if you've ever been late to something and you gotta rush to get out the door, your energy increases even if you didn't have caffeine, and then by the time you get there, it actually starts to come down and you're using it for energy. That is a great way to do it. Try those out so the weight doesn't end up as cortisol belly on your gut. Insulin. This is your fat storage hormone, and the way that you regulate it is by increasing something called your insulin sensitivity. That's just a fancy way of saying that you're gonna release less insulin during the day, but that has some really cool benefits. Namely, is gonna make you less hungry during the day, which will mean it's easier to stick to a diet. It is going to make maintaining fat loss easier, which means you can get off that weight loss yo-yo where you're gaining and losing the same 5 pounds over and over again. And it is going to strip that toxic visceral fat off of your organs. That is the biggest benefit, because that is what is going to further regulate your insulin and help you lose weight faster and easier. The workouts that help to balance your insulin are ones that you can do highly consistently, and ideally ones that involve strength training or your legs. Your legs are actually big, chunky muscles, and that is the best way to increase your insulin sensitivity naturally. Some of the most effective workouts that I've seen work for women over the last 10 plus years are things like nature walks, specifically on uneven surfaces, doing one of those desk bikes that you put underneath your desk while you're working so you can pedal along while the meeting is going on. You can get a walking pad for work. That works really well. Chair exercises are phenomenal. You can do circuit training, or you could do my #1 absolute favorite workout for women that have hormonal imbalances that want to balance their insulin naturally, and that is using a mini trampoline. This is called a rebounder. What I love about this is it's good for your lymphatic system, it's good for reducing inflammation naturally, it helps with a very high degree of consistency, because when you're bouncing up and down, it's impossible to be in a bad mood. So I would highly recommend getting a rebounder, and if you want to see a full rebounder workout that I would recommend, just let me know in the comments. I can make one in the future if you're curious. Metabolism. These hormones are the ones that you want to balance the most because this creates a very high degree of consistency and will help with your metabolic rate the rest of the day if you do it the right way. You know that I'm completely against killing yourself in the gym if you saw my last video because it will ruin your metabolism. But if you work out in the right way, you can actually increase the amount of energy producing hormones you have for the rest of the day. And if you have energy all day, you feel great. So what do you do in order to do that? You have to leave every workout with more energy than when you started. That means that if you get to the gym and you start working out and then you notice, wow, I feel good, I feel like I have energy, leave. Just leave right then. It sounds really funny, but if you leave when you feel the energy boost, you're gonna have that energy boost for the rest of the day, AKA you're gonna have more energy. If you feel like you need to just collapse in exhaustion after your workouts and you're sore for a week, that's not helping anyone. Me and my wife actually have been doing 15-minute workouts forever now because that's how we helped her actually lose that 60 pounds, but more importantly, that's how we maintain that weight loss at a very high degree of consistency. 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it means a lot when you do a proper warm-up, you do the 15-minute workout, you do a proper cool down. The whole thing is under 30 minutes total, but you always leave with more energy than when you started. Remember, you wanna focus on improvement compared to your previous self in the exact same situation. So if you did a workout before and you had high energy, do the workout compared to that version of you. Don't do the workout compared to last time you did that specific workout. Because oftentimes with women, you are gonna have some hormonal imbalance that pops up and then your energy is shot. And if you really push yourself to go through that workout, you leave the gym even more exhausted and then you're just gonna be sore and you can wake up injured the next day. So you wanna make sure you create a high degree of consistency through doing something that you enjoy doing, and more importantly, you can end with more energy. If you've been working out harder and eating better but still not seeing the results you wanna see, it could be a hormonal imbalance or inflammation and cellular fire that's popping up. I would like to offer you a free at-home cellular fire assessment with one of the coaches on my team so we can help you identify what that roadblock is for you specifically and help you start seeing results today. You can find that link in the top of the description. And if you would like to learn what the top 5 foods are that could be secretly blocking your fat loss results and causing inflammation despite being touted as healthy for everyone that doesn't have hormonal imbalances, I just made a video on it. You can watch it here, subscribe to my channel. Love you all. Thanks for watching.